Hi everyone, welcome. Welcome to today's Sattvic Serenity podcast. Today's podcast is about stress. We are looking at everybody. I had a colleague who came to me and she was saying her 6-year-old son is suffering from stress. He's 6 years old and he's having stress from um, going to school and managing his routine. So, stress is everywhere. It is a part of our modern life. We have just accepted stress as a part of our modern life. Whether it is a looming deadline, whether it is a financial worry, whether it is an interpersonal conflict, or you look at if your relatives live in countries where there is huge conflict going on, you're worried about so many things. There is stress all the time. So stress has become a part of our life. It has somehow become normalized. Then, when we look at this stress, first thing we want to do is we want to get rid of the stress. We don't want to have the stress. What do we do then? What do we do if we don't want to have the stress? First of all, we meditate, we try all those things. But what we miss is stress is intricately connected not only with our physical and mental well being, it is also connected with our whole body or whole being response, which is you can become sick. When you're extremely stressed, your body lowers the immunity and you have a chance that you will become sick. So, today's podcast, we are exploring Sattvic tips for effectively managing stress. So, we have to understand the stress and sickness are connected. See, human body is considered to be a marvel. It is complex. It is equipped with intricate systems. It is designed to maintain harmony, balance. It is designed to give you so many experiences. Everybody knows that, right? But stress, when it becomes chronic, all these balancing mechanisms, all these other things that we are talking about, completely becomes overwhelmed. And that leads to a cascade of physiological and psychological effects. So, the first time you will understand that stress is impacting you is when you have a response. What kind of response? The response is something is happening, and your first thing is should I fight or should I have a fly away from this? Should I move away from this? This flight or fight response, when it is activated, this is an evolutionary mechanism. From the cavemen, we have this mechanism. Whether we want to handle the stress by fighting or whether we want to remove ourselves from the situation. Whatever decision you're taking, whether you want to handle it, you want to be there and handle it, or whether you decide I'm going to fly, it is intensely hormonally activated. There is cortisol, there is adrenaline, there are all these hormones that control your immediate action. And this is absolutely essential, right? When you're in absolute danger, let's say there is an earthquake, there is a landslide, or there is a huge traffic pile up, you are just involved in something like that. Yes, quick response is absolutely necessary because it saves your life. It is very, very important that we distinguish that those responses are not stress, they're responses, they're quick responses. Stress is when you have these kind of responses to everyday situations. Let's say you're late by 5 minutes to your office. You don't experience this intense fear and flight mechanism, right? You have to drive for 3 hours to go somewhere. You don't feel like, oh my God, this is the end of the world and I'm feeling very stressed. All those stress leads to that is chronic, that is something that continuously happens. It leads to what we call as suppressed immune function. Your immunity gets suppressed. Your cardiovascular functions, that is your heart, begins to act up. You can develop hypertension, you can develop heart disease, you can develop stroke. You can Most common response to this is digestion. And people with intense, they develop what conditions like irritable bowel syndrome. They develop so many other digestive disorders. Not to talk about mental disorders, right? You feel that you're always anxious, you cannot rest in the night. Also, you feel that your heart is racing, you feel somebody is going to call you, you feel you can't put your phone down, you feel I have to be on social media all the time. All these things. What are the tips then? So this is a combination of what they usually propose in Ayurveda also, because the Sattvic method and Ayurveda, they have the same roots. Both of them want to rely on the purity of a being, the harmony and the balance. So when we cultivate these Sattvic practices, we can mitigate any of the detrimental effects and foster our overall well-being. So what is one way we can do? One thing, if there is only one thing we can do to handle stress. You said, don't tell me 100 things. There's only one thing I want to do. If you love eating, use that. Use that. Eat foods that are rich in nutrients, nutrient dense foods. Prioritize fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and minimize all kinds of processed food. Definitely don't eat something that is twice, thrice, 4 times processed. Another thing you could do is to, if you say, you know what, I love my food, I don't want to change it, then look at your breathing. Focus on your breathing. Engage in deep breathing exercises. Engage in pranayama routines. Engage in meditation. Meditation has and breathing has shown to calm the mind, reduce the stress hormones, and it promotes intense relaxation. You can also do yoga. When you do yoga, it actually strengthens your inner organs and it gives you relief from physical tensions. It improves your flexibility and it enhances circulation. Focus on those poses that will give you this kind of feeling. You can also, all these are difficult for me. And what's the best thing to do? Go for a walk. If you have a patch of woods, patch of nature where you can go, even your own backyard, you can just go and you can enjoy a nature connection. Or you can do any mind body practices like Tai Chi, Qigong, any of those. Even yoga is considered as that. And there are many forms of yoga, like you can do rope yoga, which is called Kundalini Rajju. You can do Malastamba, the pole yoga. There's so many variations to that. So you can try one of those. The best way and the most difficult way, I think, for most modern people is to undergo a digital detox, which means you're going to limit the exposure of your electronic devices and screen time. You create sacred space that is free from technology and distraction, and where you can unwind and reconnect with yourself and your loved ones. And don't forget to do gratitude practice. Every time you decide to say, I'm thankful and grateful, It not only triggers all the hormones within you, all the good hormones within you, it also blesses you. The cosmos really showers on you when you have this attitude of gratitude. So now you are saying, okay, how do I know any of these work? How do I know any of these work? So I'll give you one example. I had a friend, let's call her Sarah, and she was about 35 years old, and she's a executive. She's a marketing executive. And you know how marketing people are. They are in high demand, and they're always on the phone, on the social media, and looking at this campaign, running this campaign, proposing something. She was so busy that she sometimes would just go on eating hot pepperoni pizza or something like that. Just what I can eat at the desk. Not that you can't eat healthy meals at the desk. Then she developed ulcer. Then she realized this is not going to help. So she decided to incorporate mindful eating practices in her daily routine. So first, she did not eat any packaged breakfast because previously her breakfast used to be some protein bars, or she would bring that bag of something and she would pop tarts, something like that. First change she made was to change her breakfast. She started eating oatmeal with nuts and fruits. Then she took the opportunity of a lunch break. Instead of eating at her desk, she stepped away and she went to a garden and she sat under the tree there, listening to the birds, listening to the wind, and she consciously, slowly, mindfully ate her food, saying, I have this 1 hour to myself. She really felt full after a short meal, and she also felt calm because she was focusing on the colors and textures, and she could savor each bite, and she was so grateful. This 1 hour that she was taking away was causing so much change in her that on weekends she used to tell, hey, let's go out to the trail. We used to walk together on the weekends, and she would say, let's go to the trail and sit down there and eat. It was such a beautiful act. We would walk, eat, sit, talk, and then we would walk back. So that was a very nice way. And this mindful eating actually helped her to calm, helped her to ground, helped her to ask, wait a minute, should I jump into this like this? So overall, her whole body was enjoying this too. She began to sense when she was hunger. She began to sense when she was full. She began to understand what it means not to overeat. All this helped her to improve her digestion, and gradually her ulcer went away. So, if you want to do this technique, grab it. Mindful eating techniques. We also offer Sattvic cooking classes in our Sattvic culinary circle. Go to our website, you will see more information on it. The second one is the pranayama meditation. Pranayama and meditation is for people who are willing to focus on their breath. It requires some deep awareness. So let's say James. He was about a 45-year-old accountant. And accountants, especially around the tax season, you all know how difficult it is to get an appointment with them. So he was very, very anxious. He was very stressed and he was eating and he was not sleeping in a proper manner. But he didn't have a whole lot of time to exercise. So he decided he's going to do one thing that can change, that he can sit and do at his desk, which is pranayama. So every morning on his bed, before he got out, he would do pranayama. Every day between clients, he would put 5 minutes in his calendar, say, I need this 5 minute break. And then he would center himself. Over period, he observed how this helped him to calm himself. No judgments, and he was able to feel a greater sense of inner peace and resilience in the face of all these stressors. I'll say my friend Emily, she went the other way. She is like, I need to do something physical. So she's a teacher. So she liked to do artwork and things like that. But she had chronic back pain, and every time she used to get stressed, her neck used to ache, her entire back used to ache. It was very sad to see her. She then found yoga. She attended gentle yoga classes that helped her to reduce the frequency and intensity of her headache, backache, and it really improved her flexibility, released tension, and it helped her to promote relaxation. See, Sattvic method is all about your intense consciousness. Focus on that. The stress that you experience will not be a huge factor in your life. It will completely negate the stress. So don't make stress as a factor in your life. Be very, very clear that you're not going to allow stress to be a factor in your life. We've given so many techniques in this podcast. Please feel free to use them. We also offer one-on-one mentoring sessions, and we also have our weekly Gita meditation. Please feel free to join us so you can get deeper and deeper insights into how to handle stress. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat and I will answer them as soon as possible. And I appreciate all your time and effort. And always I like your support. Thank you so much. Because of your support, I'm doing these podcasts now and I appreciate it very much. Thank you all. Please consider joining our Mother's Day event that is going to start next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be a long process, 1 hour each. 3 days, you will learn 3 different things, but it's going to be something that you can keep for a long time. We will learn about meditation, we learn about pranayama, we learn about mudras, all the things women need in order to be free of all the karmas. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your support. I look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Remember to breathe, to eat, to go for nature walks, do something that completely relaxes you. Thank you all. Love you all. See you all next week in the next episode of podcast. If you have any suggestions on what you want to hear, please post them at the end of this video. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good week.